Morning, guys. Happy coffee talk. I got the wet head, just got out of the shower, made my coffee, and sat down to talk to you. And so before we get to coffee talk message, my coffee this morning's in my Polish pottery mug. I love this mug. And I'm drinking that Valhalla coffee. So good. It's actually really growing on me. I think I'm gonna take a picture of the bag and order it after it runs out because it's very solid. Reminder, resets going on. I would love for you guys to participate and jump in with us. It's totally for free. There's a lot of fun stuff happening. We give away prizes each week, just like little low-key prizes, but the real prize is honestly the wins and the momentum that everybody's getting doing it. So if you feel like you need a little, accountability, some education, some fun momentum, and again, give yourself a challenge. Pick 3 things off of this list of 10 and commit to either 7 days or the rest of the month. So it's going to be a little challenge for you to do it. That's the point. But if you've been lingering with the sugar and the treats and you just haven't gotten anything in gear, then you should jump in with the reset. So anywho, I want to talk about the email that I sent yesterday. So I sent out this blast email. I hope you get my emails. If not, I would love to add you to the list. I don't spam or anything. I just send out thoughtful, insightful emails. Well, I hope they are. I hope they're thoughtful and insightful, but they're really just real. It's me talking over email. And I sent one out yesterday talking about my goals. And so I shared, and I was getting excited about my goals because we've been talking about that for, a week and a half now, pretty much on this podcast, but also I wanted to share my personal goals. So I was like, here are the 3 things that I'm working towards, and here are the things that I'm going to do to get there. And so one of those things on there was pull-ups. I continue to work hard on my pull-ups, and I put that on my list that I wanted to get more pull-ups. I also put on my list that I want to lose a couple more pounds to lean out a little bit more. And then I also put on my list that I want to increase the strength of my left leg. Those are my goals between now and April. So anywho, last night I go to jujitsu and my hand gets smashed. Hopefully it's fine. I'll probably hang up from this podcast and go get an x-ray just to be sure because my thumb is not working at all. But so it's either soft tissue and it'll be fine in a couple of days/weeks, or I broke my thumb and who knows, it'll take 6 weeks for it to be better. Either way, it was kind of ironic that I had just put out into the universe a couple of these goals because they're kind of some of them are hand-oriented goals, particularly the exercise ones, definitely the pull-up one, even the going to the gym and building strength. Yes, I want to build strength in my left leg, but there was lots of things that I want to do, at the gym, and it's helpful to have a thumb on your dominant hand. And so I felt a little annoyed. I felt a little sad and annoyed at first that it happened because, one, it was just an accident. I didn't even do it. It was somebody accidentally fell on me. But because of that, now it needs to heal. So I felt annoyed and sad. And then I slept it off. And I woke up and I feel my hand still hurts. And like I said, I'm going to urgent care. But I feel a little bit more okay, because it usually just takes me a little bit to kind of shake it off. That feeling of now what? Oh, it's messed up kind of feeling. But I woke up this morning and I was like, man, I'm going to talk about my goals on Coffee Talk and how funny it is that would happen right when I set those goals. I'm sure that if that has not happened to you, it probably will one day. I am sure that one day you'll be like, I'm going to do this thing. And then all of a sudden something immediately makes it challenging. So I wanted to share the perspective shift that is required because this is not my first rodeo with an injury. Because of my knee, I've had lots of little setbacks. I've also had injuries before just doing sports and being active. It happens. And it can be one of those things that sideline you. Honestly, bad attitude sidelines you, really. The feeling of, poor me, can't believe this happened. Now I can't do anything and I'm just going to have to sit out, and I'm not even going to sit out. I'm just not even going to go. I'm just going to wait until I'm better and then I'll start again. That piss poor attitude feeling. And I'm calling it what it is because I can be honest about my grumpiness around this last night was those kind of feelings of frustration. And maybe you have those too, again, when you have something that you've set out as an intention or goal, and then all of a sudden something happens and then poof, it's harder to get there. Now, I woke up this morning and I was like, okay, let's think this through. Can you do your goal that you set out around nutrition? Yes. Impacted 0, right? Because what I put in my mouth is going to determine whether or not I lose a little bit more body fat and lean out a little bit more. That's the big priority there. What you put in your mouth. Nutrition is the big determiner on if you lose body fat or not. So then I was like, okay, let's think the next part. You want to start working more on your leg strength. So you're doing a lot of accessory work, but you really want to double down on that. So there's exercises that you're going to do, and you're going to work full body things. And can you do some of that anyway? Yes, I can do most of that. Most of it. I just won't be able to grip with my thumb. So there'll be some things that might need to be modified, or I might need to use a strap to hold something to my hand. There's ways to do it. So I was like, okay, that part still doable. It just might have to look a little different than before, but there's no reason why I can't do that plan. And then the pull-ups, and I was like, why? But here's the truth of it. Can I do a pull-up today? No. Nope. Definitely nope. However, maybe, again, if I find out if it's broken, that'll tell me some information. But if it's broken or not broken, the pull-up is actually just the manifestation of other strength, right? So if you think about the pull-up, I'm just doing the action of holding onto the bar and pulling myself up. But the pulley muscles are your lats and your back and your biceps and your shoulders. So you're using all of your muscles to do the pull-up. So worst case scenario is if I can't actually do the pull-ups, then I'll just work on those muscles. And I can do those maybe a little easier than actually hanging from a bar. And then question mark, or maybe if it's not broken in a short time, maybe I can hang from a bar and use, again, a strap or something like that. So all the things that I set out as goals are not busted because my hand got busted. It just felt like that for a minute. And I don't need to give up on it just because I had an obstacle. Even though the obstacle sucks, it wasn't even my fault. It just happened. That stuff happens. Even if it was my fault, that stuff just happens. And so let's kind of give ourselves an opportunity to feel pissed when things happen, or obstacles get in the way, or unplanned, situations show up. Give yourself the opportunity to be a little bit annoyed for just a minute. Do what you need to do. To me, last night, this was last night, so it's easy just to sleep it off. But if this had been in the morning, I probably would have just needed an hour to have a minute. And then rally. Get your own butt in gear and rally. And so get back to doing the things that you were doing before as best that you can, and then regroup. Really, that's what that means. I'm thinking through, okay, here's what I set out and here's what I need to do. So how am I going to do it? I'm going to need to change a couple of things, but ultimately still work towards those goals because they were important goals. That's why I set them. And I need more information, right? Now that I have an obstacle, I need more information. So I'm going to get it. But outside of that, it's just go time to figure it out. But I get to choose. And I shared something on my Instagram story this morning. I really like this quote. It really sticks with me. But the quote is, it's not the load that breaks you down. It's the way that you carry it. And I think that could probably mean a lot of things to people, because sometimes loads are long-term and sometimes they're short-term. But we think of it as oh my God, that thing is so hard or so heavy or so whatever. And that's the load. And so for some people that might completely crush them and break them down. And for other people, they seem to be able to manage it. Why? Because it's how you carry it. It's how you take the thing that was not awesome or that is hard or heavy, and what you do. What's your outlook? Are you action oriented because your outlook is, this is what I've got and I'm going to move forward to do the best that I can? That's your outlook. Are you feeling like a victim or a Debbie Downer Everything bad happens to me. Wah, 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 wah. Is that the outlook? And again, I'm not criticizing. I'm simply just pointing out that the load feels heavier when our outlook sucks. And the load feels heavier when we are carrying it poorly, right? I mean, have you ever had a backpack on that's like not put on right? When I was hiking a couple of years ago, we had these big giant backpacks, and if you had to put it on right, I remember going to REI and getting it measured, and they were like, it needs to be here, here, and here because it actually, the weight has to sit correctly on you. And I was like, oh, wow, I would never have known. I was just throwing this backpack on, buckled the strap, and been, off and running. Little do you know, if you don't have it right, it's going to hurt your body in different positions. It's the same load in the same body. It's the position of how you carry it that determines how heavy it feels and how far you can go. So how you carry things matters. Like, do you let things interrupt you all day long that are hard? Like, do you have poor boundaries around what you're consuming? Because that's going to make the load heavier. Are you allowing for maybe toxic people in your life to impact you and say things that slow you down or make you feel like you're not capable of doing something? That's going to make the load heavier. It's going to be heavier because of how you carry it. Are you intentionally choosing to have a growth mindset around things? Like, so for example, when you try something and it doesn't work and you learn from it and you realize that traits aren't necessarily fixed. So for example, like you might not feel very athletic, but you can work on it and become more athletic. And you might develop skills around sports, right? So the fixed mindset is I'm not athletic. The growth mindset is I can develop the skills to become more athletic. And that mindset around I'm learning, I'm going to try, I'm going to keep moving forward, that mindset is how you carry a load, because the load could very well be just doing the workouts, right? Like going to the gym and doing the workouts. And in that example, to become more athletic, like that's the load. How you carry it might be that mindset. You walk in the gym every day and you're like, I'm not athletic. I'm fat. I can't do this. That's how you carry the load. That mindset, that approach, how you just strap that backpack on your back is making it heavier. The people that you surround yourself with can either make the load lighter or the load heavier. It's how the way that you approach progress and priorities can make the load either heavier or lighter. I'll tell you one thing, when you're like in the back of a pack of people and you don't want to be there and you're carrying something, it feels pretty heavy. As opposed to thinking, okay, like let's go. Let's knock out the next little bit. Let's move forward a little bit more. Let's do the thing. And you have that like go forward mindset. Doesn't mean you have to go faster than everybody else. It doesn't mean you have to do more. It just means you're going forward. That's what it means. And you're like, yep, let's take the next chunk. Let's take the next chunk. As opposed to feeling like you're picking up the rear, you're barely hanging on. That is how you carry the load. And so I'm sharing this with you this morning because it's real in my life today. Today, I can't use my thumb to type on my computer or on my phone, which is where I work, and I can't grip anything. And I'm going to have to spend probably 2 hours at urgent care. And so, poor me. Or let's just go get the information. Let's knock it out and move forward. Onward. How can I make this work? I know I can make it work. It'll be A-okay. Everything's going to be fine. And, at the end of the day, I'm grateful for having my hand and for being able to have a body that can heal itself and for having amazing people that I get to do jiu-jitsu with. All those things. Super, super valuable in my life. And so gratitude intentional gratitude is also how you carry the load. Choosing to look at those things rather than the things that piss you off or are frustrating or feel like a bum deal, that's how you carry the load. So hopefully this was helpful. Thanks as always for plugging into Coffee Talk. It means a ton to me that you listen. If you don't follow me on Instagram, follow me on Instagram at Christy May Campbell. I try to put as much as I can in my stories. I really want it to be a place where we can get to know each other and help each other and all that good stuff. And so I would love to connect with you more on there. So follow me at Christy May Campbell. If you haven't done so, subscribe to Fit Me Coffee Talk on your favorite podcast platform. And if you are not a part of our Facebook group, go to Facebook, search Fit Me Community, request to join the group, and I will add you there. Hope to talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.